Got them all lined up. Before we throw these in the ultrasonic cleaner, we have to pull out all the seals and gaskets. This one already popped off with that. That used to be sitting right there on the edge. You can see that groove right here with all the gunk in it. So then we need to pull this one out. I have a little pick to do that. So I'm gonna go around and do that for all these. These are junk. I mean, we don't want to use these again. Look how dirty. Hey, where's my spring? Oh, I think it's in my pile of parts here. So those need to go through the ultrasonic too. So dirty spring, dirty, junky, gross. I should probably clean these off before I run them, just to preserve my fluid, my pine sol. So we want to do that, and we want to get this guy out. Pop these out. That'll be, it's not too hard. These are hard to get in because you got to get one on both sides, and they're not that easy to, well, I think this is a sleeve. So first I have to get the center sucker out. Let's push that through the middle. And they're seized up, so I'm going to have to use a tool to do that. So I think if we push this out, then I think we can get this out. And I think it's one, it might just be one unit. And we need to get this off. This I reuse because it's just a dust cover. It's not really functioning other than that. So pull off the bleeder valve, pop that off. This is already out. And then we need to pull this guy. So basically we'll just pull that straight out this way. And I don't know if, I'll show you once I get it. I don't know if that shouldn't turn in. So this comes off, this pops off real easy, I think. Maybe not that easy. Not with one hand. All right, so get this off, pull that out, wipe off the grease, get this sucker off, pull that off, push this through and get both of these off. And like I said, now there it is. It sits in a groove in there on the inside, so you can probably pull it off. There, if this wasn't torn, it is now. So pull, now it's torn. So we need new of that. That'll come in a rebuild kit. And then, yeah, I should just wash these off and blow them out before, because that's all gonna just add to my clean fluid. So I'll have to wash these off. But gonna get these gaskets out. Like I said, use a pick, just carefully get in there and under it. See if I can do it with one hand. You can pry it up. Kind of pick it up there. See? Just like that. Ugh. It's gross. I probably didn't destroy it unless I poked it. Yeah, I poked it. So now that's shot. Just gonna throw them all away anyway. And get under this one. Just, if you're not gonna use them again, you can just destroy them, but they come out in one piece if you're careful. Like I said, I'm just destroying them as I take them out. And then we got to get this moving, pull that out, then it's real easy to pull these off. So, probably use a screw or probably just, I'll get these out. Okay. Okay, here we go. So, 10mm wrench. We'll get out your bleeder bolt, and then you can get all these guys off. These suckers you pull straight out, and if they're not seized in there, you pretty much can just do it. There you go. Gonna want to wipe that grease up, and you know, you could probably clean these up good enough that they're not seizing up. This right here is your slide for the bottom here, and you can take a hammer and hit one of the ends. And if it's not super seized, you might be able to get it moving. I've been able to get them all moving so far. This guy right here, it's bigger on the inside. So it sits like this. So if you knock it this way, you're gonna have to knock it back this way because it's not gonna slide out the face of the caliper. So, like I said, you can knock it either way. I used a hammer, I was able to hit them, but you might get a socket or something that fits on there and start hitting it that way. A deep socket will work really good because then, you know, not hit your fingers. You can push it even further through. But like I said, this inside isn't going to slide through because it's bigger, so bigger than the bore. You're going to push it out that way, and that's what that looks like. That should have light grease on it, just as these. And then, like I said, all these little guys, they sit in a groove in the body. You just pry them out of the groove. Let's see if I can get you. See if I can do this on camera. They're all so sticky and gross. There it is. Look how disgusting all this is. So you see that groove? Yeah, that just sits down in that groove. Okay, so all these are junk, terrible. Same with these, they sit in a groove in there. But it's not easy to get these back in on both sides and get your slide in, because it'll push them back and forth, but it can be done. I've done it. Takes patience and lots of time. Just really takes patience. And then your slides down here, your springs, they just pop out. Like I said, I'm going to clean these up. See, just pry them up. There's nothing sliding on those. That is so terrible. These things are so gross. Okay, so then, yeah, I'm going to set that over there, wipe that down. So that's how you get all this stuff off. Banjo bolt was already removed. No issue. This one's all torn down. You see your groove in there. There's a groove on both sides for those gaskets to sit on there. So this one's all torn down, ready to get cleaned up. And still have seals on this one, gaskets on this one. I think this one's all done too. Nope, that still needs to come out. What about this one? Yeah, except for the spring. This one's all torn down. Look how gross these were. All right, so those two are ready. I'm gonna get the other two done and then move on. Gave these a quick, I let them soak a little bit in disgusting fluid. And then I gave it a little bit of a brush quick. And we're gonna throw these in the ultrasonic cleaner, but they are cleaning up very nice. I've been having trouble finding what seals kit to get because on eBay, I know you can't list like every model that parts go for, but they seem to be skipping the shadows from the early 80s. And I'm having trouble finding out what steels I need for these exactly. And I figured maybe some cheaper, good quality stuff would be listed under a different model. I was having an issue trying to find that stuff. And come to find out that if you look at your brake caliper, if you see this is on the opposite side of where it says Honda. So the other side of the bores, right here, it says 30 on these Honda Shadow, 1983 Honda Shadow brake calipers. So each one of these says 30. So if I can figure out a list of, see, it says 30 on each of them. If I can find a list of what fits the Honda 30s, I think I found that it fits a V65 Magna rear brake caliper. I'm not sure, the fronts might be different, but so far it seems like I can cross-reference this and I'll keep a list of what it also fits. And I like to know what stuff crosses so I can swap parts in and out if I need to. So anyway, I'm going to throw these in the pine sol and give it some time in the ultrasonic cleaner. Unfortunately here, I can only fit 2 at a time. Maybe I can, and this is without the basket. I couldn't even fit 2 in there with the basket in there. That's not really going to work. I'll go get some of the little parts and throw them in there. But let's see if we can get this thing working now. Plug it in with the new cord, or the old cord that I found. She works. she works now. So let's get some pine sol in here. I can't pick that up with one hand. Let this heat up. That's crazy. So I found out the old cord burned out. And I was talking to a buddy of mine and he said, there's a fuse in the cord that burns out. So hopefully I don't have a fuse. There's a fuse in here, but I guess that's for the unit. And then the cord has its own fuse. So I guess that burned out on me. So we're back in business. All right, one run, 15 minutes. That's the dirt we got off the pistons and 2 of the calipers. So still heating up to where I want it. I'm just gonna run it again. Now that the ultrasonic cleaner had its way, I took these parts and gave them a quick little dust with water, cleaned them up. So now I'm taking a screwdriver here, this little flat screwdriver, and carving out the dirt that's sitting in the lines here, in the grooves. Make sure you get all the dirt out from in here, because then your seals need to sit in there properly, and they won't want to sit in there properly if you don't get the dirt all out. I think I already did one of these, and this stuff's just loose, so I got to knock that out of there. So make sure those are all cleaned up. Make sure there's not a bunch of dirt sitting around. There's a little bit of dirt left here. The body's not that concerning to me. Yeah, that's just dirt right there. Guess that should be cleaned up too. It's dirt, and then it's taking the paint right off. So there you go. So yeah, I'm just gonna get all this shit out of there. Make sure you're not getting it clogged up in your bores. The bores need to be clean. And there's a little bit of corrosion down there. That's not gonna come off. I'm not worried about that, but your bores need to be clean. And I ran this light Brillo pad over all the pistons and got all the junk off the pistons. And then I'll just wipe them clean. See that? That's all we gotta do. All the pistons cleaned up really nice. They're ready to go. Need to do these, and then the rest of the little parts are running through. Gotta wipe off these slides, get all that grease off there. If you need to use a little bit of steel wool or something like this, clean them up, and then a light coating of grease when we get to it. I ran these things through a second time. These are the first ones. They're all cleaned up. Powder coating's pretty good on those yet. And then you have these guys. I guess we'll end up painting these if we need to. One thing I will say, I ran through the pine sol in the ultrasonic cleaner, then I washed them off with water, and then I blew them off with air. Make sure this hole right here gets dry, because you're gonna grease up your pin and slide in there, and you don't want moisture in there. So just make sure that's all dry before you put them back together. So everything cleaned up really pretty nice, and I'm happy with it. So yeah, time to put them back together then.